I grew up with Gran Turismo. I'm pretty sure a lot of us did, who ended up getting a PS2 while they were younger. And Gran Turismo was the premier racing game. There wasn't anything else like it, or at least that you'd have known about back when you was, probably still in your single digit years, or at least I was. But I'm here to tell you, there is a game that is equally as good, if not better, than Gran Turismo 4. I know it sounds crazy, but just hear me out. This is Enthusia Professional Racing. So what the hell is Enthusia? Well, it was a simcade racer released by Konami in mid-2005 to compete with the likes of Gran Turismo for the PS2 exclusively. To begin, we need to talk about the presentation. The way this game introduces itself is quite elegant, taking notes from the glamorous side of racing that had started at the time instead of the older gritty style from yesteryear. Every time you go through the menus, it's always cleanly transitioned, and even the showcasing of the cars and tracks are done in a way that shows off the sheer effort the development team put into all of the content. So, the gameplay. The most important thing a racing game has is its handling model, to which Enthusia goes above and beyond. I know it sounds quite the push, but when driving it feels far more in depth than Gran Turismo and even the modern Forza Motorsport games. Just to exemplify this, compare a mid-engine rear-wheel drive car that easily oversteers due to its bodyweight transferring, compared to an all-wheel drive car, gripping easily through all the turns. This does come with the downside of making the game quite difficult for a rookie driver, though the game even has that covered with the default settings giving each car the appropriate assist that it would have come with, meaning an old 60s sports car leaves you to control it all by yourself, but a modern hatchback has all the bells and whistles to make it easy to drive. While we are on the subject of cars, let's talk about them. The game has 211 cars. A fair amount given that they are all individual cars instead of the same 20 Skylines but with different paint jobs, Gran Turismo. What makes this special is the sheer variety we get. Everything from SUVs, JDM icons, classic sports cars, and even a Chevy Astro. Yes, this is one of the only handful of games that will let you drive a Chevy van. Tracks are also great too, with a decent variety set on city streets, mountain passes, and some famous racetracks like the NURB and Super Circuit, though it doesn't quite stand up to other games as you will race the same few tracks in the beginning a bit more often than you'd like. With the bases covered in terms of raw content, you'd probably be wondering what the progression system is like. This is the part that's going to get a bit more difficult. In its simplest form, you earn points from racing every week in game. Doing a race, changing car or resting, which I'll explain in a moment, all take a week. The points you earn can be multiplied by the odds system, something that compares your car to the competition, and if the chances of you winning are low, like bringing that Chevy Astro to a supercar event, you will get a higher multiplier, meaning you'll move up the ranks quicker. Now, I mentioned resting. This is where it gets interesting, as the game has a system called Enfu points. To cut to the chase, it's a stamina bar that reduces when you smack a wall, smack a car, or try to off-road when a Mini Cooper is clearly not designed for that. Don't worry too much though, as when you finish a race you'll regain some of that stamina, and when you change cars you'll regain some. The perk of this system is that it forces you to race like a normal person, and not to try and do a signature takedown on another racer. Though once again, it makes it hard for new players as they might accidentally do a few love taps and get sent to the Shadow Realm after the race. Speaking of the end of a race, cars are earned here. Unlike traditional games where you buy whatever car, tune it, only to do that again, Enthusia has you win an opponent's car at the end of a race with a raffle. This means no playthrough is ever the same, as one run might give you a Mustang while one might give you an RX-8, depending how lucky or unlucky you are. Great in theory, as when starting it makes you learn new cars, but as you progress it becomes a slog, racing over and over to earn the one car you do want or to complete the game 100%. With that said, how come most people have never heard of this game? Especially given a lot of what I've said about it is good. The answer is quite simple. Gran Turismo 4 released just a few months prior with more content and obviously a lot more branding and advertising than Konami's new IP ever could. Even the first Forza came out just 2 months after, and being funded by Microsoft meant it could do a lot more, especially given the Xbox's online support. This led to Enthusia being left behind with a great idea to expand upon, but never to see the light of day as it just couldn't keep up with the bigger names. If things were different and they had released a year earlier, we may have had the name become a staple to racing game fans to this day, but alas, it was not to be. I think to truly conclude this, the harsh truth has to be said. A lot of games don't make the cut because of bigger and better funded titles, and it's a damn shame. If you are watching this and want to dust off the old PS2, give this a shot, because you might just fall in love. Otherwise, all I can really say is look out for smaller games. All it takes is for somebody to see a game and spread the word to help it grow. With that said, thanks for watching. I'm going to be trying to make videos somewhat weekly, maybe every 2 weeks depending how it goes. So just keep an eye out, feel free to subscribe and like this if you do enjoy the content. Like I said, thank you. Hopefully I'll see you on the next one.